course, we know the winners and the losers. For Nigeria, well, we'll try again because it was the third place, that the bronze, that Nigeria could manage to lift. But then we have a new champion in the continent, Senegal, and of course the host nation, Morocco. We'll get into all of that to tell you the aftermath of what we saw in some of the games, and of course the team of the tournament and the awards as they were. But first off, let's go into other stories, because the first one we have right here today is former Super Falcons striker Patience Avre has called on the Nigerian Football Federation (NFF) to organize football more friendly matches for the Super Falcons ahead of their WAFCON title defense in Morocco. The Super Falcons have not played any international friendly since their unbeaten campaign at the WAFCON in July 2025, something Avre described as concerning, with the tournament holding in March 2026. Now, Avre said the lack of playing time could affect the team's chances of retaining their continental crown. The former forward noted that while the Super Falcons have a strong track record as Africa's most successful women's national team, they need to stay competitive and sharp. The Super Falcons players, led by the captain Rasheedat Ajibade, defender Ashley Plumter, and Italy-based forward Risola Babajide, had expressed their frustration over the team's inactivity during the last FIFA international window in November 2025. Now, the Super Falcons are expected to defend their WAFCON crown in Morocco in March 2026, having sealed qualification with a 3-1 aggregate win over the Republic of Benin in October 2025. Now, the tournament, that's the WAFCON, will double as a qualifying event for the 2027 FIFA Women's World Cup that will be holding in Brazil, with the 4 semi-finalists earning automatic spots and 2 more heading to intercontinental playoffs. Let's just stay with women football, because the winners of the maiden FIFA Women's Champions Cup will take home a record $2.3 million. FIFA, in a statement, revealed that it will be the highest single prize ever awarded in women's club football. The announcement marked a major milestone in the growth of the women's game, with the new 6-team competition designed to bring together continental champions from Africa, Europe, Asia, North America, South America, and the Oceania. In addition to the winner's prize, the runners-up will get $1 million, while the 2 teams eliminated at the semi-final stage will receive $200,000 in participation payments. Now, clubs knocked out in the first round, like Auckland United of New Zealand and Wuhan Shegu Jiangda of China, will walk away with about $100,000 each. FIFA Secretary General Matthias Grafström described the prize structure as a strong vote of confidence in women's football and its future. The Women's Champions Cup will take place every year, except in years when the club's World Cup will be held. The final stage of the FIFA Women's Champions Cup will take place in London. That's on Wednesday, 28 January, and of course on Sunday, the first day in the month of February 2026. The 2 semi-finalists will be held, or that game will be held at the Brentford Stadium in London, and it will be between Gotham FC of the United States against Brazil's Corinthians, while Arsenal women will take on Morocco's Asfar. Still on women's football, Washington Spirit forward Trinity Rodman has become the world's highest paid female footballer after signing a 3-year contract with the club, her agent has confirmed. The 23-year-old daughter of former NBA star Dennis Rodman had been a free agent since her previous deal with the Spirit expired on the last day of 2025. Now, her contract is reportedly worth $2 million per year, including bonuses, keeping her with the club through 2028. Barcelona midfielder Aitana Bonmati, winner of the Ballon d'Or in 2023, 2024, and 2025, was the highest earning female footballer before now. Rodman helped the Spirit win the National Women's Soccer League NWSL Championship in her debut. That's in 2021, that's in the United States. I was named NWSL Rookie of the Year. She has earned 47 caps for the United States, scoring 11 goals since her debut in 2022, including 3 goals at the 2024 Paris Olympics, where the United States won gold. And now to CAF football matters. The CAF disciplinary board convened to deliberate on matters arising from the Total Energies CAF African Cup of Nations Morocco 2025 game between Algeria and Nigeria on the 10th of July 2026. The CAF disciplinary board decided on the following. 1. Suspend Algeria player Lucas Zidane for 2 CAF official matches with the Algerian national team for misconduct. Suspend Algeria player Rafik Belgali, player for 4 official matches with the Algeria national team for aggressive and intimidating behavior towards the match referee at the end of the match. However, 2 matches are suspended for a probationary period of 1 year, starting from the date of the present decision. Impose a fine of $5,000 on the the Algerian Football Federation for the conduct of senior A national team, having received 5 cautions, all yellow cards, during the match, in violation of Article 130A of the CAF Disciplinary Code. Also, impose a fine of $25 on the Algerian Football Federation due to the inappropriate behavior of its players and officials at the end of the match, which brought the match into disrepute in violation of Articles 82 and 83 of the CAF Disciplinary Code. Impose a fine of $5,000 on the Algerian Football Federation for the use of smoke devices by its supporters. Impose a fine of $5,000 on the Algerian Football Federation for the throwing of objects by its supporters. Impose a fine of $10,000 on the Algerian Football Federation for failure to comply with security measures due to the behavior of its supporters who attempted to force the security barriers. And impose a fine of $50,000 on the Algerian Football Federation for offensive and abusive gestures displaying banknotes committed by its supporters towards the match officials. Anyway, we await what the committee will come up with for both Senegal and Morocco, the fracas that we saw in the final of the competition. Still on CAF tournament, the just concluded AFCON. Crown champions after a controlled campaign, Senegal imposed their authority in that particular sphere. Now, Morocco, solid and consistent finalists, confirmed their competitive maturity, while Nigeria, finishing 3rd, left their mark on the AFCON with their attacking power and statistical dominance. Now, here are the awards and stats for the just concluded tournament. On the podium, we have champions Senegal, and runners-up we have Morocco, while 3rd place went to Nigeria. For individual awards, player of the tournament went to Senegal's Sadio Mane, while the top scorer went to Morocco's Brahim Diaz with 5 goals. The best goalkeeper for the tournament was Yassine Bono of Morocco, who had 5 clean sheets, while the best player went to Nigerian's Ademola Lookman with 4 assists. Yes, best playmaker. That's for Ademola Lookman for Nigeria with 4 assists. Now, the Fair Play Award went to Morocco, as it were, but for me, that was controversial. Anyway, for team performances, most consecutive wins went to Nigeria with 5 wins, while the total number of goals scored in the AFCON 2025 hosted by Morocco were 121 goals. The highest scoring team in the competition was Nigeria with 14 goals, while the most goals conceded in the tournament went to Mozambique with 9 goals conceded. And the best defense, we saw countries with 2 goals conceded. Those were Morocco, Comoros, DR Congo, and Senegal. Now, the highest average possession went to Nigeria's 66% possession, football possession. That's what we saw. For most passes completed, Senegal were awarded with that one with 3,562 passes. And of course, most shots attempted we saw in the game between Morocco and Senegal. That's 108 shots.
Most corners won in the tournament went to Senegal, 44 in total, while offsides, the most offsides went to Egypt with 15 offsides recorded for them. And for most clean sheets, well, Senegal and Morocco had that, 5 clean sheets in the tournament, while most penalties converted, we saw that one going to both Mali and Morocco with 3. And yes, for the tournament, we also saw some other things happening there. For most penalized team, the most penalized team was Senegal with 17 yellow cards and 1 red card. For total yellow cards in the tournament shown, we had 210, while the red cards shown in the tournament were 9. Well, the highest attendance of the tournament was definitely the game between Senegal and the host country, Morocco, at the Stade Moulay Abdellah Stadium in Rabat, which saw 66,526 spectators. What a way to go. Still, on the AFCON tournament, let's see the team of the tournament. The team of the tournament. Yeah, we can see from the graphics on your screen. The best keeper there for the tournament, Yassine Bono from Morocco. And then in the defense line, the defense setup there, we have Achraf Hakimi from Morocco, Moussa Niakhaté from Senegal, Calvin Bassey of Nigeria was also there, Nasser Mazraoui was also there from Morocco. In the midfield setup, we have Nigeria's own Ademola Lookman, and Senegal have 2 players in that place, Pape Gueye and Idrissa Gueye. In the forward line, we have Brahim Diaz from Morocco, Nigeria's Victor Osimhen, and Senegal's Sadio Mane. Now you look at the best 11 from AFCON 2025 on your screen. Any need for, I think this is perfect. As far as I'm concerned, this is okay for me. I think this is spot on. All right. Let's go to club football now. This time around, we'll be looking at the Champions League and the Confederations Cup in Africa. The total energies and for CAF Champions League and Confederations Cup resumed on Friday, 23rd January for match day 3 of the group stages, which got underway across Africa after the conclusion of the AFCON tournament in Morocco. Al Ahly moved top of Group B in the Total Energies CAF Champions League after Mahmoud Hassan Trezeguet struck twice to secure a 2-0 victory over Tanzania's Young Africans in Alexandria on Friday. The Egyptian Giants made the most of their decisive moments as Burj El Arab Stadium, with Trezeguet's goals coming from either side of halftime was enough to extend their unbeaten start to the group stage and, of course, take sole possession of first place. South Africa's Mamelodi Sundowns were held to an entertaining 2-2 draw by Sudan's Al Hilal of Oman, as Group C rivals both shared the spoils in that particular game on Friday night. The result kept both sides firmly in the race for qualification after a contest that swung in momentum and quality at Loftus Versfeld. All right, let's look at the fixtures for this particular one. I think there's a game ongoing in the Group A game between Power Dynamos. This is the CAF Champions League now. There is a game ongoing, Power Dynamos of Zambia against Nigeria's own Rivers United. Before now, the result was goalless. It's still goalless in the 59th minute. It is Power Dynamos 0, Rivers United 0. And by 7 p.m., it will be RS Berkane of Morocco that will host Pyramids of Egypt. In Group B, by 4 p.m. later today, JS Kabylie of Algeria will host ASFA Rabat from Morocco. In Group C on Sunday, we'll see by 1 p.m. Saint Aloy Lupopo of DR Congo will host MC Alger of Algeria. And in Group D later today, just less than an hour from now, Esperance de Tunis of Tunisia will host Simba SC of Tanzania, while tomorrow Sunday by 4 p.m. Stade Malien of Mali will take on Petro Atletico of Angola. Now elsewhere, the Total Energies CAF Confederations Cup resumes with match day 3, presenting an opportunity for clubs to strengthen their positions ahead of the decisive final rounds. In Group A, we have USM Alger of Algeria will host Joliba AC of Mali. That game coming up by 7 p.m. And then on Sunday, it'll be by 4 p.m. OCS Safi of Morocco will host FC San Pedro of Cote d'Ivoire. In Group B, on Sunday by 1 p.m., Nairobi United FC of Kenya will trade tackles with Azam FC of Tanzania. And then on Sunday by 7 p.m., Wydad AC of Morocco will take on AS Maniema Union of DR Congo. In Group C, on Sunday by 4 p.m., Singida Black Stars of Tanzania will take on AS Otoho of Congo. Still on Sunday, it'll be by 9 p.m., it'll be CRO Belouizdad of Algeria against Stellenbosch of South Africa. And then in Group D, by 1 p.m., Zesco United of Zambia will host South Africa's big team, Kaizer Chiefs. And then by 7 p.m., it will be an all-Egypt affair with Zamalek SC, hosting Al Masry SC, also of Egypt. All right, still on club football, let's come home now to the Nigerian Premier Football League, the NPFL. They have fined Remo Stars 7 million naira for breaching its regulations in the match day 20 encounter against Ikorodu City. Now, Remo Stars have also been banished to Ibadan, where they will play their remaining home games this season. Remo Stars were sanctioned for failure to provide adequate security, throwing of objects onto the pitch, and misconduct by supporters. The club will pay a fine of 2 million naira for failing to provide adequate and effective security, another 1 million naira for throwing of objects towards the field of play. The club will also pay a fine of 1 million naira for the improper conduct of their supporters, as well as another 1 million naira for misconduct capable of bringing the game to disrepute. A further fine of 2 million naira has been imposed on the club to serve as compensatory cost for the damages on the awaiting bus and supporters. All right, not really good one when it comes to football activities. I mean, we saw some of the drama, in the just concluded AFCON tournament in Morocco, and we've seen some of these funny scenes and scenarios also in the Nigerian domestic league. And huge fines are not enough as far as I'm concerned. Points deduction would go a long way. Yes, banishing teams to another place for their home, as their home base, as their home ground, well, not bad. Just like what they did to Remo Stars now by the NPFL is a welcome development. In fact, what we saw during the AFCON tournament was not really a welcomed thing for the world to see. It wasn't good advertisement for African football. In fact, some some foreigners, some ex-players from abroad have already started downplaying the value and the, how will I put it now, the rating of the AFCON, as it were, against other tournaments across the globe. All right, we'll take a short break, a commercial break now, and when we return, we'll be looking more into club football, fixtures, results, if there are, especially from the local side and from Europe. Stay with us.
At DSAG Engineering and Services, we anticipate, manage, and deliver. Since 2000, we have been a leading EPC company, ensuring customer satisfaction through quality service and timely delivery. With integrity, proficiency, and innovation at our core, we provide world-class solutions tailored to your needs. From engineering designs and construction to procurement, manpower outsourcing, and maritime supplies, DSAG delivers excellence. Partner with us today. Visit www.dsag.net or call +23 4807 254 8724. DSAG Engineering and Services. Anticipate, manage, deliver.
right, welcome back from that commercial break. And before we go into the second half of this show today, let's quickly give you up to speed the results for the game between Power Dynamos and, of course, Nigeria's representatives in the CAF Champions League. Talking about Rivers United, that game is gone past the 16 minutes mark, and it is still goalless. All right, before we leave the studios, I think we'll give you updated result about that one, hoping if the game ends this way, it's going to be the first point for the Nigerian side after 3 games. All right, the Nigerian Premier Football League enters week 22 as teams continue to battle for the title and a place in continental football for next season. This weekend sees games across the various centers, but let's look at the fixtures that we have and, of course, the standing in the league. First off, let's go to the fixture that we have for today. We have just one game, and that's Katsina United against Plateau United. That game will be coming up shortly, about less than 7 minutes from now when that game comes up. And then for Sunday fixture, we have some games coming up by 3 o'clock on Sunday. It'll be El Kanami Warriors hosting Ikorodu City. And then by 3:30 p.m. it'll be Barao FC against Bayelsa United. Still on Sunday by 4 p.m. it'll be Abia Warriors trading tackles with Nasarawa United, while Enugu Rangers will host Warri Wolves. Still on Sunday, well, the game between Kwara United and Rivers United have been postponed due to the continental engagements of Rivers United, like I said earlier on, taking on Power Dynamos. That game ongoing, still goalless. And still on Sunday by 4 p.m., Niger Tornadoes will host Eyimba, while Shooting Stars will take on Bendel Insurance. Wiki Tourists will then host Kano Pillars in that Sunday's fixture. All right, let's look at the standings of the table. Rivers United, even as they are not playing today or this weekend, they are still on top from 21 games played so far. 21 games played so far. They have 47 points, 41 points, I beg your pardon. And then for Abia Warriors, they are second with 37 points. Ikorodu City, this is a new team into the NPFL. They are on the 3rd position with 35 points. Same points with Kwara United, who are seated on the 4th position. Let's quickly look at the bottom of the table from 17th position. Like I used to say, 4 teams get relegated from the NPFL, and that's why I was starting from the 17th position. Wiki Tourists on 17th position with 23 points. Plateau United on the 18th position with 23 points as well. And then Kano Pillars, who, by the way, were deducted with 3 points and 3 goals. They sort of have climbed, taking themselves out of the bottom, and now they are on the 19th position with 22 points. And then Kun Khalifat, who is one of the new teams into the Premier League, Premier Football League, are now at the foot of the table with 18 points. Now, you look at this table, even the 16th team, and let's say from the 14th team, all have 25 points. From the 14th team, yeah, they all have 25 points, and anybody can go into relegation into that one. From 14 to 17 is just one points, just separating. Like, for instance, the 14th team is 25. Same with Remo Stars, 25, okay? And then Kwara United, 24 points. There's 1 point separating both Kwara and Barao and Remo. And then you have Wiki Tourists, who are on the 17th position on the relegation waters with 23 points. So you can see that the 14th team is just 2 points away from relegation. All right, let's go away from that one. It's getting really interesting with the Nigerian Premier League. Good one coming in for there. Let's also cross over now to this weekend of European football. We'll take a look at some leagues in Europe as they throw up some mouth-watering ties. But for the match of the weekend definitely is the game that will be taking place at the Emirates on Sunday. That's the game between Arsenal and Manchester United. But first, let's look at other fixtures. Let's start from the French Ligue 1. There was a game last night between Paris Saint-Germain and Auxerre. And that game ended 1-0 in favor of Paris Saint-Germain. It's a good one for them. And then fixture for today in the French Ligue 1. Beginning from 5 p.m. we have Rennes against Lorient, and Le Havre will take on AS Monaco, and of course Marseille will host Lens. Those are the games for Saturday. And then the game for Sunday in the French Ligue 1, we have Nantes against Nice. That game coming up at 2 o'clock, I beg your pardon, 3 o'clock on Sunday. And then Brest will take on Toulouse. That game coming up at 15 minutes past 5. And so it is with the game between Metz and Lyon. And Paris FC hosting Angers. All this game coming up at 5:15 p.m. And then the late kickoff in that particular tie, it is Lille against Strasbourg coming up at 8:45 p.m. Let's look at the table in the French Ligue 1. Paris Saint-Germain 2 points away from their closest rival, who that by the way, Lens, though they have an outstanding game. So if Lens wins that particular one, they'll definitely go on top with just 1 point. But as this is 2 points away from their closest rival, talking about Paris Saint-Germain, Lens on 43 points, while Marseille are a distant 35 points. That's take it like 10 points from Paris Saint-Germain, who are on top. And then on the 4th position there is Olympique Lyonnais with 33 points. Let's go to the foot of the table, starting from the 16th position. Yes, we see Nantes on the 16th position with 14 points. Auxerre on the 17th position. Same points with Metz on 12 points, who, by the way, are on the foot of the table. Now, you look at that table critically, you see that I started from the 16th position. That's where the relegation battles start from. But from the 16th position, they will go for a playoff to determine whether they will stay or not. But for the 17th and 18th position, if the season ends this way, then definitely Auxerre and Metz are relegated. All right, let's go over now to the Bundesliga, the German Bundesliga. There was a game last night. It was against St. Pauli, who hosted Hamburger. That game ended goalless. Not really good one for St. Pauli. Well, I'll tell you when we see the table. And then we have games ongoing already in the German Bundesliga for Saturday. Yes, already we have Bayern Leverkusen taking on Bremen. And of course, Bayern Munich against Wolfsburg. Augsburg, I beg your pardon. And of course, Eintracht Frankfurt are hosting Hoffenheim. And then Heidenheim, FC Heidenheim are at home. They are playing against Leipzig. And of course, till today, Saturday, it is Mainz 05 against Wolfsburg. And then a later kickoff today, and that's coming up at 6:30. That's Union Berlin against Borussia Dortmund. As we speak, games are ongoing. No goals recorded. So before we leave the studios, probably we'll look at the results. And let's go to Sunday's fixtures. For Sunday, we have Borussia Mönchengladbach. Yes, will take on Stuttgart. That's on Sunday, and that game will come up at 3:30 p.m. And then at 5:30 p.m. it will be Freiburg against FC Cologne. Let's look at the table for the German Bundesliga. Bayern Munich still on top, the only team in Europe that have not lost a game. in their league as it is. Bayern Munich, 19 games because they are on right now, 51 points so far. I mean, this is all about Bayern Munich right now. I think it is theirs to lose as it is right now, 51 points. And the closest rival, 39 points. That's like 11 points, 12 points away from Borussia, from Bayern Munich, Borussia Dortmund. I mean, so for Hoffenheim, who are in third position, they are 5 points away from Borussia Dortmund, that's 34 points, and RB Leipzig on fourth position with 33 points. By the way, Stuttgart are on the same points with RB Leipzig, and of course Stuttgart are on the fifth position. Let's look at the foot of the table. Right. Just as it was in the French Ligue 1, the 16th position will go for a relegation playoff battle to see if they can survive. So we'll take from 16, but 17 and 18 position definitely will be relegated. So for the 16th position is Heidenheim with 14 points, and then Mainz 05 and St. Pauli both are on 13 points, 17 and 18 points positions respectively. All right, let's cross over now to the Italian Serie A. There was a game last night, a game where we saw 8 goals in that particular tie. Inter Milan hosted Pisa, and I told you, I keep saying this thing about Pisa. They keep donating and sharing pizza to every team they meet in the Serie A. And this time around, they've donated a lot of pizza to Inter Milan. Inter Milan walloped Pisa by 6-2. And yes, there are games today in the German Serie A, and there's a game ongoing right now. Como being coached. I always talk about this thing. I always call, each time I mention Como, I always talk about the man who is their gaffer, no other than Cesc Fabregas, you know, the protege from Barcelona, and of course made a lot of headlines with Arsenal of England. Well, he coaches Como, and he brought them from the lower division to the Italian Serie A, and they are doing well right now in the Italian Serie A. As we speak, they are leading Torino by 2-0. Goals scored in the 8th and 16th minute. First goal by De Vicas, and Baturina also scoring the second goal. All right, let's also go to the games for today. Like I said, Como and then Torino are ongoing, 33 minutes so far played. Other games, we see Fiorentina hosting Cagliari. That game coming up at 6 p.m. For Fiorentina. I think there's been some form of upward movement for them. They want to get themselves out of the relegation waters. And Lecce, that's the late kickoff, and that's coming up at 8:45 p.m. They will host Lazio. And then for Sunday's fixture, we have Sassuolo, early kickoff in that one, 12:30 p.m. for that particular game. They will host Cremonese, while by 3 p.m. we have a couple of fixtures, Atalanta against Parma and Genoa hosting Bologna. And then by 6 p.m. Juventus, this is a classic game to watch. Juventus will host Napoli, the defending champions. Looks like they are the sleeping champions already. And then Roma will take on AC Milan, another classic game to watch on Sunday. That game coming up at 8:45 p.m. And then on Monday, we have Verona. Yes, Hellas Verona will host Udinese at 8:45 p.m. All right, let's look at the table, the Serie A table. Like I said earlier on, with that walloping of Pisa by Inter Milan, 6-2. They are on top of the log. 22 games played, 52 points to them already. And it's so shocking to see that when you look at the table, Inter Milan that are on top, they've lost 4 games, while AC Milan, who are second, have lost just 1. But you see, where the result matters, the drawn games for AC Milan, whopping 7. And just won 13. Anyway, AC Milan, the two Milan clubs are fighting themselves right there, but Inter Milan is like gradually running away. That's like 6 points from their closest rival, AC Milan, who are on 46 points. Napoli, the defending champions, are on 43 points. That's 9 points from Inter Milan. And they have to have a good result in their game. I think that's against Juventus. Juventus want to climb to that Champions League spot. Roma are on 4th position with 42 points, and Como, like I said, they are seeing themselves already in the Champions League, getting closer to the Champions League spot. They are 5th on the log with 40 points. And of course, Juventus make up the top 6 teams there. Let's look at the foot of the table. The foot of the table. Let's go to the foot of the table in the Italian Serie A, okay? From the 18th position, because this one definitely from 18 down to 20, that's where we have our relegation. So the relegation waters, we are seeing those who are swimming there. Lecce with 17 points from 21 games. Pisa, Hellas Verona, 19th position. I don't know why I'm so interested in Pisa. Maybe they should pass on Pisa to me from Italy. All right, so Hellas Verona on the 19th position with 14 points, same points with Pisa, who are on the 20th position, 14 points. Not really good at all. Pisa have won just 1 game in 22 trials. Not really good. Not really good. All right, let's go across now to the Spanish La Liga. Last night we saw a very interesting and entertaining game in Levante and Elche. 5-goal thriller. Levante edged that one, defeating Elche by 3-2 goals. You know, at the beginning, it looked like Elche was going to spring a surprise. They ended the first half 1 goal in favor of Elche. A goal scored by Rodriguez in the 11th minute. And then Levante started crawling back into the game. 5 minutes into the second half, it was Pablo Martinez who equalized for Levante. And then 18 minutes later, it was Adrian de la Fuente who made it 2-1. And then a shocker came just 2 minutes of added time to regulation time. El Mokhtari equalized for Elche, and we thought that game was done and dusted to be a drawn game. But Maturo came just 4 minutes later after Mokhtari equalized for Elche. 4 minutes later, it was Maturo who gave Levante the winner. All right, so it ended 3-2 in favor of Levante. Let's cross over now to games for today. There's a game already, almost at the death of that game. It is Rayo Vallecano against Osasuna. First half ended 1-0 in favor of the away side, Budima scoring in the 29th minute. But as we speak, it is 1-1. Cis scored, equalized in the 59th minute in the second half, by the way. 80 minutes on the clock now. It is Rayo Vallecano 1, Osasuna 1. All right, there'll be game later, about less than 30 minutes from now. Valencia will take on Espanyol. That's coming up at 15 minutes past 4. And at 6:30, it will be Sevilla against Athletic Club. That's Sevilla, where we have Akko Adams, Nigerian's own Akko Adams, probably will start that game. And then the big one for Real Madrid tonight, coming up at 9 p.m., Villarreal will take on Real Madrid. Let's see the fixture for Sunday. Atletico Madrid will host Mallorca by 2 p.m. At 4:15 p.m., it will be Barcelona against Oviedo, Real Oviedo. That game is supposed to be a short banker for Barcelona, but they will have to look at what happened to them in their previous game where they lost. You know, talking about the La Liga game, not the Champions League now, because I think they took that anger into the Champions League and they won that game during the midweek.